We'll see what we can accomplish. I'm live on YouTube, so these guys can watch later on. All right. Looks like we're looking on YouTube. Moodle doesn't want to work. All right, well, we'll record to YouTube, and then these guys can watch when they get a chance. And I got to figure out why I've done this like 4 times now. It still doesn't work when I need it. So, get PowerPoint going. You guys able to pick up the book in the bookstore?
Yeah, I got it a week ago, I think.
Okay. Good. Okay. All right. Well, for you guys who are watching on YouTube later, I'll work on this Zoom link. I thought I had it set up a couple different times. It looks like, I don't know if it's not saving properly or what, but it's giving me a invalid meeting ID when I use the link that you're all trying to use on a class. So we got to straighten some things out, make computers happy. That's how our world works these days. So today, you know, we're kind of looking a little bit more at just types of corporate video. I still want to shape your understanding of how, if you've done videos in the past, this is a different genre, different animal, what the possibilities are really is the goal. So as we talked about initially, using the definition of corporate, it's a group of persons, an organization, and it can be an individual, but that's an individual with an agenda. It's a person who is trying to create a business or build a personal brand. So it can be a single person, but they have a business agenda, right? So when you be working with them, you would be helping them achieve some goal that they've already set. And that's going to be typical when you work, let's say, with a campus club or an organization like the university itself. They have needs. You figure out what those needs are and then help create video solutions to further them. You know, so really it's this huge range, right? The corporate, for our purposes, can be a single person who's just trying to launch a personal brand. They hire you to make their music video. Or it could be the world's biggest corporations, right? Legal corporations that are publicly traded like Tesla, Moderna, Amazon, Apple. You know, so it's this massive spectrum of people, right? Or of entities. So locally, you know, our big corporate players, obviously the university. Within the university, there's all these little organizations that could also be corporate clients. You could work for small businesses around the community, or for an individual. Basically, the key thing is that you have a client. You are working as a team member with and for somebody to create videos that serve their needs. And then when you get out in the, you know, in the real world, when there's money on the line, stakes get high pretty quickly. Clients have expectations, especially when they're paying you to do this, and you really want to be on your game. And one of the big things that I had to, you know, develop is a sense of professionalism about video production. You know, we see it as kind of a creative endeavor. It's something that we do for fun right now. When you're out working in this realm, like being on time to meetings, finishing parts of the product, like delivery. If you tell them you'll deliver them a finished script, you know, you don't do it 2 days after you promise, right? They'll ask you, because they're bosses. They're used to holding employees accountable, and you immediately fall into that realm. And so you just kind of got to tighten up your game and become more business-like. So your role as the production manager becomes more critical, where you look at, when I work with a client, I give them the 4 phases of the video production, give them dates at which we are striving to accomplish each one of those steps, right? So I'll get to a treatment in a week. I'll get to a finished script a week after that. That we'll shoot our video, our field production in these 2 weeks, and then I'll take 2 weeks to post with a delivery date for February 15th. I lay that out for them, and now I'm in the role of managing this production. I have to make sure we meet those guidelines to keep the client happy and feeling confident that I know what I'm doing. So that's the role of production manager, is you really become more diligent about tracking what's going on. So we step back for a second and think about, what are we creating? Well, there's a lot of different answers. A video solution to a client problem is one way to answer it. But in the end, with all videos, I want you to step back even further and think, every video you create ultimately is a viewing experience. Think about the end user. Where are they? How are they engaging? Are they watching? Are they going to watch this on a YouTube, on a computer screen? Are they primarily going to see it on their phone for the first time? Is it like a commercial? Is it going to be presented in a boardroom on a big screen, or at a conference like that concept video for Honda, where they might have, 100 VIPs and they want to make a big splash, so they put it up on a big wall. But think about that with every video you do. Ultimately, what is the viewing experience like? And create a video that's going to work within that context, right? Something on a screen this big works differently than one that's, broadcast on a big wall. So you're thinking about a viewing experience always, no matter what video you're doing. And we want videos that grab, that engage, they inform people, they entertain people, and ideally, they make people feel something. The real trick to creative product content is if you can move people emotionally. So you put poignancy or something that makes people feel something. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, but it's a good goal to retain. And in corporate, we're always trying to communicate, right? We're a communication department. Video is a communication medium. So you're trying to inform, entertain, move people. These are broad goals. And my ideal scenario, when I create a video, create a viewing experience, is I want that experience to be almost hypnotic. When someone hits play, I want to draw them into the world that I'm going to create and kind of steal their attention from everything else going on. It's difficult to do, but that usually starts with a theta. You time it, and the opening sound, whether it's dramatic or whether it's poppy, but you give them something that they can kind of latch onto right away, and you try and suck them into the production, and then hold them for 2 or 3 minutes by having that production unfold solidly, be interesting all the way through. So those are some broad goals just for video creation, not particularly for corporate, but they certainly apply here. If we look at types of video production, I say there's basically 2 genres of video. Entertainment, like Hollywood, TV shows, movies, and marketing. Commercials, corporate videos, sales videos online, right? And they're both huge industries, but they're really different, right? And for entertainment, you go work in a Hollywood studio or a production company where they're writing a script for the latest CSI. Whereas marketing video, personal branding, company branding, business branding is all over the place. It's right here in town. You don't have to go to a big city to work in that genre. So there's different purposes, and you can create entertainment videos here on a small scale, but you can think about, am I working in the marketing business side of things, or am I purely in an entertainment mode when I'm making my next video? So looking broadly, live productions, sports, events, there's conferences that in the book talks about that in that first chapter, how Berkshire Hathaway has this big shareholders meeting, and they broadcast it live to a second location so that people overflow can't get into the primary arena, they can watch it live. So there's live production, live reinforcement. Typically we see that as sports, but also a lot of events, Olympics, concerts. And it's a very viable thing to be capable of doing for people, and that's where Sports Crew is a good opportunity to learn some of that. Documentary, news, nonfiction type stories, nonfiction type videos, and then in the corporate realm that leads into like training, how to use a product, onboarding videos. New employees come to the company and you tell them, what the policies are and what our mission statement is. Nonfiction. Then there's sort of that pure social media entertainment, just having fun with the medium or creating entertainment products as a business like Disney does, or CSI on NBC, CBS type things. And then we get into the fictional realm where we have dramas and narratives, theatrical performances, films, where you can create just fantasy. So video circulates among all these different genres. And to a certain extent, corporate does as well, but corporate is going to focus on these first three and probably more in this documentary, news, nonfiction genre. You could use, little narratives and vignettes to make a point, but you're typically in a corporate world talking about what a company does. And a company usually does something in the real world. It's not a fantastic fictional product. It's a real product. So you're working in nonfiction. So then I got to thinking about, okay, let's look at all the different things you can do. This is where you guys can latch onto some of these slides and think about, okay, what am I going to offer a client? When I go out and find my client, talk to them. They may have some ideas. Ideally, the client has like one pressing need. They're like, oh my God, if I could have one video right now with the XYZ, and you could look at that and go, I can see a way that we could do that in a half semester. Yes, that fits. But there's all these options, right? So as we look around what companies are doing in this space, and one of the reasons I want to dig into this is because this is not stuff that you've grown up seeing, probably. A lot of this is internal, specific to an organization, its employee base, its customer base. If you're not in those pools, you haven't seen this type of video. You're familiar with TV commercials, of course, but you may not have seen some of these other genres. One being addresses from leaders. And we'll look at the ISU page, and one of the things that's on there pretty frequently is Kevin Satterley getting up and talking to the people at the university. Right? So that's something. Addresses from the top of the organization to everyone underneath. And that bleeds into like mission and purpose statements. If you want to create a video that just outlines what this organization stands for, what are their goals, that's a viable part of their explainer, and that could be pretty short, a minute, 2 minutes. Imagine like the United Way of Southeast Idaho that we did a project for. They might make a mission video that just talks about all the different people in the community that they try to help and how they operate. Mission statement. Explainers are probably the most common thing you're going to run into right now, which is you explain the organization's purpose or their product to potential first-time customers, right? So it's in that awareness part of the funnel. If you look at those funnel diagrams, people engage with this. They want to know more. What's in it for me? The explainer says, this is what we do. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is what's in it for you. Right? So it's a short 2-minute video. That's an easy one for you guys to, if a client says, well, I'm not sure what we do right now, start there. Do you have a sort of an explainer video? Does your website open with something that people can in 2 minutes learn about what you do and why they might be interested? If not, that's a good one to do. Inside bigger operations, there's all kinds of specialized skills. And so a lot of them are now using, and this has been done for decades too, training videos, how to operate this piece of equipment, how to operate your new truck. The more complex the device you buy, the more you need training on it, right? You see a lot of training and how-to showing up on YouTube, right? YouTube broke any barriers. Now you've got all these guys doing how-to videos just to draw attention to their own personal brands, their own businesses. So that's a big thing. So you may run into somebody who just needs to teach. One thing I like about training is that I offer clients is if there's a teaching thing that they have to do over and over and over, it takes up the manager's time to continually train new employees. You can come in and say, if we make a video, I basically help you automate that training. And the value in it is the manager's time is valuable. And training is sort of a low value effort, especially if it's being repeated over and over and over. The manager's not taking on. You free the manager from that, he can go on other things. So I'll give you a real world example. I had a doctor contact me like 10 years ago, and he does colonoscopies. And the client's medical law, I've had a couple different doctors do this. Medical and insurance law says you have to provide these patients a certain set of information before you undergo the procedure. They have to have informed consent before you do it. So the doctors had to spend a half an hour with every patient explaining how to prepare for the colonoscopy, what the risks are, et cetera, et cetera. This doctor's like, I am so sick of giving the same information out. I want to record it, put it on a website. The client can watch it, check a box if they agree, and it will free me to like go make money doing other billable work, because this is not billable. So that's what we did. So I did like a 10-minute video where he put him on camera. He basically gave the same presentation he gives to his clients. We shot some B-roll, and he was thrilled. I also had a surgeon who did bariatrics, did the stomach surgery, same thing. He had informed consent. And so we created a video that freed his time from having to do that in person. It's enormously liberating for these guys. And it allowed them to elevate their business in other areas by being free. So huge value in that. So that's a market. When you guys go out and you're using video skills, and you're like, yeah, I want to create a feature film, but in the meantime, I got to pay rent. You look for businesses and places where they have a repeatable training or a repeatable something that you can film and automate for them, and they will love it, and it's very viable. Other things, showcasing products, right? Showcasing concepts. We watched the Honda video, that fits in there. Recruiting is a big one. That's another internal type project where you are selling the organization, an explainer, if you will, but the target is people who may come to work there. I'm seeing a lot of this. I'm doing one right now for Pocatello PD. A lot of police are tired of big city life, and so all these rural departments are saying, hey, come here. We got low cost of living, we got low crime, we've got a great department. People like the police in Pocatello, Idaho, so recruiting of employees, and you'll see that in the book. He has a Facebook link that looks at it. And then when you get employees in, there's often an orientation. Here's what to expect, or here's the values of our company. They open employee orientation with a video about how you should set your attitude to work. Sales support, people are going out on sales calls. They may have a short video to open a meeting with a client. It's not broadcast, it's not on YouTube, it's something they kind of do in hand. And then obviously broadcast facing commercials, right? So you can see all these different ways that you can communicate for a business or a corporation with video. It takes a little getting used to think along these lines. And then, the list goes on, right? I won't go in detail, but customer orientation. So someone buys your product and they need to know how to use it. There's videos, a lot of training, there's online training, especially for software products. A feel-good thing is just meet the people. Just go around and introduce people in your organization. People love people. We'll look at a video that does that. Let's say you're working for the history department. You just want to highlight the top 3 professors. That could be a short video. Let's meet the top 3 professors in the history department at ISU. And they could put them up individually on social media. They could put it on their website. But you just do interviews and kind of personal stories. Long form commercials or series of commercials. I love the Geico ads right now. It's Geico. The clogging. Have you seen that one? I don't think that's it. And it's one of a series, right? They have people who are having problems with clogging in their new place. People who are having problems with ants in their new place. People who are having problems with something else in their new place. So it's a series of 30-second spots, but it's a bigger project because they're taking that one theme. And it's all selling that same one product. So these are ideas that you might adapt to your clients as you talk to them. I just want you to have this in your arsenal thinking about this when you go into these client meetings. Content marketing, are you familiar with that? Content marketing is where I'm finding a lot of the information that I'm sharing with you guys. Content marketing is, it's a digital phenomenon. Let's say, well, I have a client right now who sells bearings for boring equipment, ditch witches that dig underground. I guess the bearing kits that the head rotates on go out all the time. So the guys who run this equipment are constantly buying these kits. So we've got a website, and we tell them that we sell those kits and they're less expensive, but they work just as well. But how do we get people to the website? Content marketing, I would write a blog post about like how to repair your ditch witch head when the bearings go out. Piece of content, put that on the website, and then Google indexes it. And then when people search, how do I repair my drill head? They might find Google would serve them my blog post, my piece of content based on the keywords, and now they come to us and they start looking at us, and maybe there's a video on the site, right, when they get it. So that's the idea. Content marketing is you create content about the industry you're working in, but it's not a sales piece, it's information. But people find it through the search engines, and that's how you start to develop web traffic coming to you, because you're finding people who are searching about the stuff you're talking about. Okay, so content marketing is it's a whole funnel concept that we'll look at. Conferences, live presentations, post-event videos, funnel level specific, thought leadership and influencers, internal communications. These are all different ways of looking at what you can do to help people inside organizations. Thought leadership is really interesting. It's high level. Let's say Kevin Satterlee did a video about the state of higher education today. It would be a content piece where he spent some time thinking and analyzing the current state of affairs and created a video. And he's now a thought leader, right? That goes out on YouTube. Other educators are Googling what's going on in higher education. The links fit. Here's Kevin Satterlee branding ISU as a thought leader in that space. So it's sort of a high level thing, but a lot of companies are doing it. And again, it's not something you necessarily see or come across every day unless you're sort of searching around in those spaces online. So the marketing funnel, did you guys take a look at some of this? Read that beginner's guide. I know it's a little confusing, but it gives you a structure to understand business video. And this is going to hold up for you guys for 20 plus years until this changes. This is a relatively new phenomenon in that it's really become popular now with digital, where people could create pathways on the web that would take a customer from first exposure, I've never heard of this project, all the way to buying without ever setting foot in the store, right? It was all done on the computer. And they started to define this as your funnel, your pathway. Now the funnel has always existed. It's the concept of the customer journey when people buy something. Offline, the old days, before the internet, they'd be home, they'd see a TV commercial. Jones Sowenback is having a sale on Riccar vacuums. Oh, I didn't know there was a vacuum store in town. I need a vacuum. So that's first awareness, right? And then obviously TV commercials were repeated over and over and over. So that awareness was constantly being built. People, after you spent a year in town, you knew that Jones Sowenback, you may not have ever gone there, but you always knew that it was there. That was awareness. Then there's an interest step, right? So I'm aware. Then I decide, okay, my vacuum's broken. I'm going to do something about it. Now I'm down in this next level. I'm in the interest level. What would I do? Well, back in the day, I would call the store, call or go in. But I have differentiated myself from people who just know about it to people who are actually going to engage, right? Now, I haven't decided to buy. So car dealership, I'm going to go kick the tires on a car lot, right? But you're interested enough to go there or call. The consideration, if I call and the guy does a good job on the phone. Yeah, Rickards are really great. They'll last you forever. It'll clean a lot better than your Hoover that's broken. Why don't you come see us? I'll give you a demonstration. You go visit the store, because now you're getting close to buying. You probably decide you're going to buy a new vacuum. Just now you're going to consider what your options are, right? So you might visit, and then if they do a good job at the store, ideally, they don't want you coming in and then leaving without a vacuum, going to price check at Walmart, so they would, try to close, right? So this is the old customer journey offline. You can see it makes sense, right? People follow a process of psychological steps towards purchase. And then, retention this is after they become a customer. There's this whole back end of how do you groom your existing customer base. And if you've ever taken any business or exposed to any business classes, it's like 5 times easier to sell a second time to an existing customer than it is to convert a new customer. So that base of people who've already bought from you is enormously valuable. Businesses need to cultivate it and stay in touch with it. Now, a lot of them do emails, right? You buy something and you get emails endlessly from the company asking you to buy more. That's that concept of working that existing customer base for preliminary sales. So if we look at the customer journey nowadays, and this is what your client is thinking, because now we're online. Now we're in today's world. Same journey, but different steps, different ladder, if you will. So the client has to ask, how do I get seen first? How am I going to conquer awareness online, right? And that's where often that content marketing, you create a blog post that has a bunch of keywords associated with your product, and people who are searching for info on that product will come find your blog and start reading about your company and realize you can serve their needs. That might be a first step. A big one, an easy one, YouTube ads, right? Or display ads. Those are the first steps. So how do I get seen first? Well, you could look to get organic search results or online advertising to get out in front of people, or a billboard, just anything that gets you seen. The next step, right, is, okay, so I've got 100 people who see me, and 40 of them, if my ad is targeted well, need my product. They just haven't decided to pull the trigger yet with me or somebody else, but they are going to resolve a problem that my product solves. So they're interested. Okay, let me know more. Typically what happens is they click the ad online and they go to what's called a landing page. You guys have probably done this, right? You see an ad for, like I saw some ad for some beautiful leather hats, leather cowboy hats. So I clicked and I ended up on their website and saw their whole catalog. And there's this whole theory about how to create landing pages, but that's your interest step, right? They called you. And a lot of times the goal here, click-through rates, so the ad has a click-through rate, tells you how many people are clicking through to your landing page. And what happens on the landing page is you try to capture that person's email. You don't want 1,000 people to see your ad and come to your landing page, and not one of them lets you know who they are. Right? It really doesn't do you any good until they follow through. So a lot of times the first thing on landing page is, I'm going to give you this free ebook, or I'm going to give you a coupon code in exchange for your email address. Okay, conversion step. And then we follow them down. If we get their email, we start emailing. And it's called nurturing the lead. So you generate a lead here, and then you nurture it and try and pull them further towards getting them to a shopping cart. Right? Sometimes this happens all in one. Motivated buyers who know exactly what they want, they often click, boom. But they find, the metrics of digital allows them to see where people drop out. And they'll do A/B tests. They'll test a red button on the landing page versus a green button. Find out that people click the green button 3 times more than the red one. Okay, so we have these journeys. Why do we care, right? Remarketing, because I believe, and I'm not the only one, you can use video at every step of the way. But the type of video you would use at the awareness level is going to be different from the video at the purchase level. because the people who've moved all the way down this funnel to get to the point where should I spend the money or not? They're in a different mindset. They already know a lot of the basics of the product. They're looking at this in a different way than your first exposures. Okay. So what I'm after here with this discussion is to help you guys contextualize the videos that you make with some understanding of where it fits your client's customer journey. And what it allows you to do, most videos that you start out are going to be here. They're either going to be the first contact or a longer form, hey, I'm interested, tell me more. You're not going to be down here, but this is where you can sell the same client additional videos. Once you conquer this and conquer this, they can say, yeah, God, people keep getting stuck at the third level. Well, maybe we can answer some of their hesitations or motivate them into purchase with a new video. Right, so I think that there's video opportunities at every part of this function, but you have to understand this whole idea of the digital funnel. I mean, it's a customer journey regardless, but in our day and age, in your professional day and age, it's a digital funnel in large part. And you can think about all these companies out there that are selling online without ever having a store. Like, let's say, how many of you bought something on Amazon? What's the process? Well, one, somehow you heard that Amazon's a good place to go, right? And so that's the first time they get somebody to a website, that's a huge breakthrough because it's so much easier for that person to come back. Then you go to Amazon, and your first interest step is you use the search tool on Amazon, right? Unless you clicked an ad that showed you a product that you wanted and took you right to that product page, you go to Amazon and you type in, I need the corporate video textbook. Then it brings you to the landing page for the corporate video textbook, and it has multiple features there where you can either just purchase right away, right? Want that front and center, or they have blurbs and reviews, and they might even have, in many cases, a video, depending on the product and how useful that would be. But you can see how it's this journey, but it all happens online. You click and pay and buy and ship without ever talking to a person, and that's what this digital funnel marketing paradigm is broadly being articulated and developed now. And the thing about digital is like I said, they can look at the metrics of where did people click on the screen? Did they click a red button more than a green button? Did they, if we put the email address at the top of the landing page versus the bottom where they entered it, that make a difference, right? They're granularly studying the big data. So you recognize the shape, you recognize the different things. This is a more detailed way. This is one of those things where I think you could look at and say, okay, in the awareness phase, one of the big things they do is podcasts. What if my client could benefit from a video blog? Let's do a monthly video blog piece because we're experts. We're going to become thought leaders. Social videos, obviously, they're saying video blogs right here, but you can do little short clips. Infographics, talk about the industry, talk about the product. And then, down here, ebooks and white papers is one of the big things that these online companies do to get your email address, right? You want to learn more about content marketing, you've got the content marketing free guide, give us your email, we'll send it to you. Now they're building a list of people that, hey, you were interested, right? That could also be a video, right? We'll send you a free video on how to do something. So that's my thinking here. Case studies could be videos, written video testimonials, sales videos and emails. I want you to use these diagrams as a way to go, I could offer a video to a client. And you can tell the client, you can teach the client about this. Most clients don't know this, especially on the university. They just think, well, I just need a video. You can kind of be like, well, if we do this video at the top, what action do you want people to take? Oh, well, we want them to click over here. Well, let's put some content when they do that. Let's build a funnel that brings them to whatever, registration or whatever you need, okay? So that's really all the thinking here. And we'll get back to video, but there's this digital context nowadays that we have to, I think, think of as corporate video producers. This was where I left, when I left local advertising to take this job full time. I was at the point of saying, okay, this is where I need to go with my business. I now need to educate all my local clients who only think about running a TV spot and having people come in the door and buy, and get them to recognize that it's changed, and we now need this progression of nurturing our customers along the journey. I mean, it used to be easy, right? You run an ad, people came to the store. Those were the good old days. Now they come to the store and they price shop off their phone, right? You give them the presentation, they have brick art, and then they immediately start looking up, where can I get brick art cheaper? It's this guy, right? I can get it on him. Thanks for the demonstration, but I'm gonna buy it from somebody else. Brutal. What were you gonna say?
I think nowadays it's easier, especially for like small towns where they would give broadcast television, but it would be from like big cities. So like, for example, where I'm from, you would get like Salt Lake City news, but now it's like people are making their own ads, and then you see it on social media and whatnot. So I think it's way easier. It's like, you know more about what's in big cities than you do in your small town, but now it's the opposite in a sense.
Absolutely, it's very dynamic, and you can absolutely write. We talk about how everyone is now a content producer, everyone's now a distributor. I have my own, store's Facebook page. I can create my own commercials, put it on a Facebook page. I can even go out on Facebook and advertise that, like paid placement, get more eyeballs to it rather than people just finding it organically. That client is off to a good start, but then you have to ask, so someone watched the video on Facebook, so what?
Yeah.
What did they do next that helped your business? Now, and they'll say, well, I hope they come in, okay? But there's maybe 10 other ways that we can engage that person that makes it more likely they come in with these different parts of the funnel.
Share the video and get a free sticker.
Right, well, yeah, contests are a big one, right? Like and share this video and we'll enter you in a contest, right? And then suddenly in 2 days, 10,000 people have seen your commercials. Kind of brilliant. If you can think of reasonable steps all the way through the funnel, you can build a funnel that works over and over and over. And all you have to do is speed the top, because you basically know what's going to happen once you get someone into it. And that's when they talk about taking a business to scale. Online stores, they talk about scaling up. So they work small, but then when they know that if I get 100 people in, 30 people to stage 2, I'll get 20 to stage 3, 10 will buy. I've proven that this system works, man, they will scale up and start pouring people in the top, because they basically have established how much they can sell, right? So it becomes very powerful. That's all, down the road. But this will be real. This is not going to change in your guys' careers. This is something this is a concept that you can grasp and work with, share with bosses and clients, get more familiar with. And as video producers, think about all the different places that a little video might help goose the movement down the funnel. So it's pretty cool. And like I said, I realized that as a video producer, I had to explain to clients why we wanted to do this video down here and how it would help their business, and then do this one and then do this one. And so, it used to be just that we could make commercials and change them every quarter, and those days change dramatically. So just take a quick look here at ISU's YouTube page. So you can think, all of these companies, ISU's our big corporation, our big institution, they all have branded YouTube pages now. The bigger the company, the more likely they are. And if we look at ISU's, I've sorted this by date added. So these are all the recent ones. A lot of this is internal. A lot of this is Zoom, and their internal discussions with faculty. They're long and they're boring. But here's Kevin Satterley's monthly message. So that's, addressed from the leaders. Very viable, pretty easy to produce. Here's an event, right? They documented graduation. So they did live event coverage. Again, this is more, I think, interim faculty discussion, looks like similar video. This would be employee training. how we're going to, well, it's a policy discussion about how we're going to handle COVID. But right, this is going on. Somebody is producing video for ISU. And I guess one of the things, and this is where technology becomes so disruptive, but here's Coffee with Kevin, spring registration reminder. I don't know, kind of a pitch thing for the Department of Nuclear Engineering. Here's an image video, or this is a broadcast video.
We're public health ambassadors. I'll give you a Bengal sticker. Thank you for wearing a mask.
Benny and I are out today saying thank you to everybody for wearing their masks on campus. So thank you all for doing what you do so well and representing the university and doing it with masks on to do the right thing to protect the rest of our Bengals. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, thanks for wearing a mask.
We're public health ambassadors. I'll give you a Bengal.
So thank you.
See that ad pop up? The red bar? I don't know why it's not there now. I mean, but that was an ad related to higher education, but totally unrelated to ISU, or piggybacking on this content. This is how digital works. And so that ad would be awareness. And if I click that ad, I'm going to go to a landing page for that company's product. And there's going to be content there that tries to pull me down into the second and third tiers of the funnel. So if we look at this video, basically what's the overall goal of the funnel that this video would be part of?
Encourage students to wear masks, and it shows that like we do care about the CDC guidelines, even though it was kind of ironic where it's like, thank you for wearing a mask, fist bump.
And then, yeah, they need to have tight shot of the hand sanitizer afterwards, right? Yeah, so we could look at a funnel in this case and say, okay, the action step, the purchase, the conversion is people change their behavior to wear masks and hand sanitize. This is one part of a much larger university program to do that, right? So you can see if you look at, the university they've sent us emails, they've posted things on Moodle. They've also created a video that somewhere in that funnel, it's meant to reinforce and move people closer and closer to that action point. So, the whole idea here is that there's context around all of this now. There are other videos, don't just stand alone. They're part of a larger process that moves people from one state to what we want them to do. And digital allows you to do that in these very finite increments. So, we could look at many examples. I'll find others, but I just wanted to share with you, you can see those types of videos I started today with are all kind of in effect here, both internal communication, meet the people, document reality, right? There's one of these is Davis Field dedication, but not a lot of fiction here, right? More documenting a state of affairs. So our own university is doing this, and then College of Arts and Letters has a YouTube page. So where are we at? 149. Got a little more time left. I asked you to read this, so I'm just going to run through it real quick. When I made a PDF, I sent you guys to the onliner version because when I save a PDF, I get this sort of garbled layout. But I just highlighted some of the key things. Now, this document is a piece of content marketing. This is a company that sells SEO services. You guys know what SEO is? Search engine optimization. And what they're saying is and this is the new digital marketing world. So everyone has a website, and search engine optimization is a way to make your website more visible to Google. So when I search boring tool repair kits, I've made sure to optimize the website that I built for my client to have that term in it a lot. Now Google, people used to just stack it up, they put it on a hidden page and put it in 50 times. Google has figured that out. Now it has to be legit. But someone searching for my product, they don't know me, my name, but they know they need a repair kit for a boring tool. They put that in, and boom, Google starts showing. And then, if you can rank in the top 3 listings on Google, you can get 90% of the traffic to your website. So that's where content. So these guys are in the business and they're doing their own model. They have created how to create a marketing funnel as a free content piece, because people who are interested in marketing funnels also need SEO. Does that make sense? Okay, so this was a sales piece ultimately for these guys. They want you to become their customer and hire them to do SEO for you. And this, as I read this more in depth, I saw how prevalent that was. But overall, just in explaining the funnel, the marketing funnel is a system created to drive traffic, but not just drive traffic, also convert people, right? Make them fall in love, et cetera, et cetera. You define what your action is. And so that's a discussion you'll have with your clients. What do you want people to do? What do you want people to do? They will usually have an action. Oh, I want them to come to the first meeting. And then you'll backtrack and figure out, okay, how do I reach that person who's walking around campus who doesn't know anything about this and get them to that first meeting through a series of funneling steps. System designed to attract and convert. People do drop out. So awareness, for every 100 people you expose, you hope to get maybe 40 into the next step and maybe 20 beyond that, down to a sale of 10. But it's okay. That's how it's always been. So you see the numbers decreasing. That's why it's shaped like a funnel. You go from 100 to 40 to 20 to 10. If else conditions is a programming term. When you really get into developing these funnels, you might have 2 options on a page. And if they click this option, they go into one stream of content. If they click that option, they go into another because they've indicated what their interest is. This gets really dense. But again, there's content created for each step. And that's where you guys have opportunity, is to be those content creators. But you got to understand how it all fits together. General business idea here. Finding a product and market fit. I like this. If you don't have an excellent product or service or a market of people who need it, a marketing funnel is not going to work. So you have to have a good business. You have to have a worthwhile product, right? And you have to have people who need that product. That's true in any business enterprise. But if you see clients, if you talk to a guy who's starting a new club and it's about forensic pathology, you might go, look, nobody wants to go down to the morgue in college and pick apart dead bodies. I don't think you have a good product market fit here, right? Now, if he's paying you, you might make the video anyway. But okay, so first stage of funnel is awareness, and then the nice examples here. So they might read an article, content, right? They might hear a podcast. You can buy advertising. They search on Facebook. You have a website, they might stumble across your website. Often public speaking, holding forums, being, thought leadership, right? There's a way to create awareness. Or they might find a video on YouTube. So they're familiar, you talk about the problem, raise awareness, and you persuade them to, you talk about their problem, and then you kind of introduce the fact that your brand and service can solve that problem. But digital marketing starts with the needs of the consumer, and then shows how the client can meet those needs, because the consumers are out searching for solutions. You need to be present in the main channels where your customers hang out. Google's a big one. Then they go into how they operate. This is where they start to show that their product can help you achieve your goals. If you're here, it's because you have the same goals, and they're saying, okay, and we can help you. But they publish content on a blog that then indexes with Google. That's how they find, and they use keywords. That's how they get a lot of their customers. Keyword research, Interesting, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world now, which means videos. And then you tag the keywords and the hashtags and all the concepts for the videos. So, and I don't know, on campus, this is more of a global approach, but if we apply it to campus, let's say we had a guy do a video for the anime club. The anime club guy, like, why do we need a video? Well, here's one way. You've got a bunch of students on campus who like anime, and they're watching it on YouTube. And if we put up a tag that says anime at ISU, people are gonna find you through YouTube, right? So it's simply a search tool. But anyway, remember that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. So a lot of people they go to YouTube and they immediately use that search feature and look things up, and then content displays. So that's that idea of being, you have to hang out, be present in the main channels where your customers hang out. They hang out on YouTube. They're watching content that they like. And so you want to be there. Keyword research, second largest thing. YouTube's been around. Marketers still discuss video marketing as if it's new. So that's an opportunity for you guys, to be thought leaders here for as video producers, to look at video as a marketing tool and realize that a lot of people still don't get it. How to use it this way in digital space. Create high quality, actionable videos that rank on YouTube. Online communities, again, hanging out where people who are interested in these subjects hang out. You go have a presence there, add value. That's one of the big things. You don't just pitch. Let's say you go join a YouTube group on anime, and your underlying agenda is to get people to be aware and join the ISU Anime Club. But you just don't go in there blaring, join the ISU Anime Club. Typically, you build a relationship, you talk about anime, and then you subtly kind of say, by the way, there's an anime club at ISU. If you want more info, click here, right? They click, they come to a landing page that says, here's our next meeting. So it's about adding value. So in this case, this document is full of good information for us. They gave it to us for free. That's the idea of they are giving us value. They're creating value first to get us to engage with their content, with the idea they're building a relationship that may lead us to actually becoming a customer. But they're not coming right out, right? So that's a really big digital concept when you do content marketing, is you basically give something away valuable for free and make people like you, and then they come back to you later on and buy. Influencers, thought leadership, interest. Okay, I think I can see you guys starting to glaze over on this a little bit, so I think. Anyway, I put that highlighted version on there, so if you want to reread this and just look at what I'm after here, is I want these terms to start to kind of sink in: awareness, content marketing, action steps. These are all things. Digital funnel, the fact that it exists in the first place, and you can search digital marketing funnels and read to your heart's content. And like I said, the business opportunity is this employs programmers. This employs marketers, this employs content creators. Digital marketing funnels, are a big way to make a living at some point. In corporate video, this is where it's going. So here's the overview. Again, they assign metrics at each stage for awareness, interest, consideration, conversion. Remember those concept steps. As you draw customers, you help clients bring people through a funnel to conversion, to purchasing. Retargeting, right? You guys know about that. And what's wild about this is that it's changing so fast. Retargeting, remarketing, new algorithms, new abilities to track people's behavior, changing every 6 months. Now that they have Alexa and Google at home, in your home, they'll hear you have a discussion. And then have you noticed that? You'll discuss something in the kitchen, and the next day you're getting ads for that on your phone. It's creepy, but it's also new, right? That wasn't happening a year ago. So they developed it, and it's one of these things where you guys, you're surfing this digital wave for 20 years now, just being ready to adapt. But what I'm trying to give you is foundational concepts that will hold up for you. The overall concept of a funnel, the way a funnel works may change, but the fact that it exists is going to last. So it's valuable for you to understand it here. So if we go back to PowerPoint, I had some examples where we're at. We're at 1:59. We've got a few minutes left. I'll save this for next time. Take you through. I think we've digested a lot. That's interesting. So we'll take a look at some more videos here and call it good for today. But there's that highlighted version if you want to go back and just see what I picked out. Get rid of all their bullshit about how they're the best SEO company in the world. That's all there for you. So my goal with all of this, I know it's a little dry, but is when you go out and start meeting with clients, you're in the back of your mind, you're also thinking about what part of the funnel you're working in. And most of the time it's going to be either the first and second levels. But you may find an opportunity. I think it's really cool to think about like what you might create at the point of purchase to nudge someone who's like, should I click? Should I not click? You know, is there something you could create video wise? And what really works well at point of purchase, they say, is testimonials. So someone's like, should I buy? Should I not buy? If there was a little video window of a client saying, this is the best decision I ever made, I'm so glad I went through with it, right? That can help push people over the edge. So, you know, you might have a video clip at that point, sign up for the anime club, you know, and pay your dues for the semester. You might have a video of kids in the club saying, it's so much fun. I love anime club. It's totally worth the $30, right? Yeah, so there's all kinds of creative uses here. All right, so we looked at, I've looked at these down. They're very interesting. So let's watch this one. This is a Thai life insurance company. And it's really, this is content marketing. This isn't really a big sales push on anything. It's not a call to action. It's just a corporate feel good that they've put out, and it gets a ton of views, like millions of views.
เขาจะได้อะไรถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวันเขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลยไม่ได้รวยขึ้นไม่ได้ออกทีวีไม่มีใครรู้จักไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้นเพราะสิ่งที่เขาได้คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุด
ไทยประกันชีวิตเชื่อในความดี
Isn't that a neat video? I love it when the little girl shows up in the school uniform, and I think that's, you know, that's like right at the climax point of the video. Like you've been in 2 minutes, you're kind of wondering where this is going, and suddenly there's that. Like, oh, I get it. So I don't know, what do you see going on there creatively? What's the story? What's the meaning? What are they trying to communicate? You think? Or it's just some of the themes, because there's several going on.
Definitely the theme of altruism. Like the commentator was like, he's not gonna get rich, he's not gonna be a celebrity, but what he does get at the end is like good emotions and witnessing happiness. And then I kind of wraps it up at the end by asking the viewer, what do you desire most? So that's what I got.
Absolutely, absolutely. The value of altruism and the impact of giving, right? The reward of giving. What else did you see? What else are they explaining there?
I mean, it's for life insurance, so it's talking about like the value of life. He values all their lives, and everyone else is just like, ah, old woman who needs help? No.
Isn't she great?
There you are.
Yeah, so just like, yes, so I definitely got that theme, like celebrating life, right? Like life's little moments, but life is precious. And that obviously ties into a company that insures people's lives, right? Your life is precious. And life insurance is a little different product, but it is actually really important. And when people lose breadwinners, entire families can hit the bricks. Whereas if you had life insurance backing it up, the kids still go to college, mom keeps the house. It's valuable stuff. Isabel, anything?
I got the same thing as him, like the value of life and like how other people might not value the same thing I do value. Like how he like would give money to a little child and then the old man would be like, you don't know, like, what are you doing?
Yes, right. Definitely. That the world is not always a warm and fuzzy place. That there's coldness or sort of callousness too that the old man represents. I like the theme of growth and progression in that, and it's symbolized by the plant, right? The opening scene, he puts a dead plant under a spout, and by the end of the video, the plant has come back to life. And so the whole story I see there built along those themes also is how altruism progresses. And it's a series of small acts that don't have an immediate reward that ultimately create big rewards, right? The plant comes back to life. He's at the end, he's surrounded by plants, right? He values growth and beauty. But he gives the little girl money and helps the lady with the cart multiple times before there's an impact. It takes time. So they're saying if you do little things all along the way, you may not get immediate gratification, but look at the difference this altruism makes over time. Doing the right thing. And that's kind of what, if you think about it, I mean, that's how life insurance works. You pay premiums and you don't get to use it until you die. Then your family gets a big tax-free check that helps them pay for the funeral, and term life versus whole life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of really subtle stuff. And I guess what's interesting, really interesting about this is, I don't know if that it's like exactly 3 minutes, 3:06. And it ends, but I don't know if Thai television runs that as a 3-minute spot, or it's just an online piece. It's probably a showcase piece. And this is an opportunity. Like, let's say you get a client. Every 2 or 3 months, you could create a new feature piece for the top of the video, or like the YouTube page we looked at, right? If you look at a YouTube page and there's 3 videos and they're all 3 years old. What kind of impression can I make, right? We're not really serious about this space. But serious companies using these channels to communicate and attract search traffic, they need fresh content. And that's your opportunity as producers, is to say, so this may be like the 3-month top video on this company's website. In the meantime, they're making the next one, because eventually everyone who's going to see this has seen it. They need to take it down and put a new one up. So it's a branding. Could be a TV commercial. The article mentions short film style, rather than interrupting someone's day with a standard commercial. This piece is pleasant to watch and inspiring. Why it boasts such a high view count. So maybe that's on. Okay, So it's had 86 million views. We are now familiar with Thai Life Insurance Company. Why? Because they put a piece on YouTube. And in our discussions, I found it looking for corporate videos. That's the power. So this is basically, if there's one thing you're going to tell your clients, let's create an explainer video, put it up on YouTube, and people who are interested in what you do will find you and you'll start to engage them. Okay. Caden, how are you? Glad you found us. I'll work on that Zoom link, try and get that squared away. So you will read chapter 1 in the book, and he talks a lot about this, and he takes you inside Google and Facebook, and we'll look at some of their work. And you can follow those links if you want, or I'll review them next week. And off we go into the world of corporate video. Think about who you want to work with. Think about who on campus you would like to help. And I can find people too. If you don't have, one guy was into anime and karate, so we did videos for both of those clubs. I don't know if there's campus organizations you're already part of that you want to help. If not, let me know. I can help find. Or like I said, you're welcome to go off campus, but I just think it makes more sense to help our own university with a product like this first. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening. I know that was a lot, but I think you'll find that digital funnel thing really kind of cool to think about.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll see you Tuesday. All right, Caden. See you later, man.
See ya.